Good morning again, everybody. It's official. It is the live Zoom property tour. My name is Scott Buckholtz, and I am one of the hosts for the property tour. We also have Yas Hake on. She is the other host. We've got people on today from all over the country. We appreciate everybody taking an hour out. We do these property tours every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. as we are national community investors, and we love to feature our investors that are part of our family or part of our community. And today we get the honor and the privilege to feature not only a friend of mine, but also someone who has inspired me for the last 2 years tremendously, and that's Cecilia Hake. She's actually, well, I don't want to steal a lot of her thunder, and so let's go ahead and bring her out if we could. Cecilia, can you come out?
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh. Well, now we've got double audio. We got reverberation now.
Let me turn.
No, you're fine now. You're good now.
Okay. I'm coming in on my iPad and my computer, so that's why there's two of me.
Yes, and well, we only have. Let me make sure we got you set up as host here. There's Cecilia's iPad.
Can you see my screen?
There you. It's starting to get there. There you go. We can see you.
All right. Are we good to go?
Well,
can you see my screen?
Yes. Can we? Can you go ahead and kick this thing off? Because a lot of people on here today may have never seen any of your other property tours, and so don't know your little story. I know you have a great story to share, and so go ahead. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Scott, for having me, and Yas, the new mayor. Honored to be here and excited to share my story and a few of my investment properties with you guys to hopefully inspire you or help you get to your next step in your goals. So a little bit about me. I am born and raised in Minnesota. I have been part of this real estate community for just over 3 years now. I am from a small town in southern Minnesota, and now I live in a city, Minnetonka, Minnesota. And a little bit of a background, I swam for 15 years. I'm a swammer now. I don't swim anymore. I have a major in construction management and business administration. And so I was inspired to get into real estate investing because I was studying construction management and I watched a lot of HGTV. And so I was like, that's what I want to do. And so I started following the people on the shows and really was following what they were doing and inspired, and I wanted to do that. However, like I thought I was going to have to work for a company for 10 years to like save up to then start flipping houses. And I actually ended up going to my first seminar and learned all these awesome things that they don't teach you in school, and your family and friends don't really know about either, that you can use other people's money, and that I could actually start my journey like a lot sooner than I had imagined. So I went to my first real estate seminar. I think I was 20 or 21. I'm 25 now. After joining this real estate community, I got my first real estate investing check at 22 years old. And that's me in the photo there with me holding that. I was so excited and thankful. And awesome news too. I recently just left my W-2 job. It was 2 weeks ago on Wednesday. So I've been a full-time entrepreneur. I'm so excited. I've been wanting to do that for a long time. However, I had a limited mindset, and it was just really scary to leave that. And it was in real estate. It was specifically in land development. So it was helping me and my knowledge for the business that I am growing. So yeah, I was just an entrepreneur at heart. And now I get to finally say I'm doing this full time, and I'm so excited. The photo below, me and my fiance, we flipped that house last year. We flipped a couple of homes last year and for 2020, and then 2021, our focus has been short-term rentals. That's my parents there. my biggest supporters. And yeah, so that's a little bit about me. Like I said, I've been in this group for 3 years, and everything that I know is thanks to them. Most of it, having construction management and then the land development has helped as well. But all of these strategies that I'm going to be talking about all have come from this amazing group of investors and education that has been provided. So I'm going to get into
Cecilia,
it.
can I ask you again, just to repeat, did you say at the age of 22, you received your first real estate check?
Yes. And that's
wow.
proof of it right there.
Wow,
So
that is
I'm
amazing.
super excited. Yeah.
Hey, I just want to mention real quick too, for everybody on, Cecilia will go over her numbers later on before we end today. And we definitely would love for people to type questions in the chat room that we'll get to. So as she goes along, if you'd like to ask some questions, please do. And then we'll kind of pause in about 20 minutes or so and answer some questions. But please type those in if you have any for her. That would be wonderful. And it's all yours again, Cecilia.
Awesome. So yeah, I guess before we get into it, the thing that I've been good at in the past couple of years is flipping houses. My fiance and I, we've been doing that, and it's been really fun. However, one thing that I've kept in mind is the owner of the company where the community that we're a part of, he made a statement once that I heard, and it stuck with me. And he said, "You're only as rich as your next flip. Once you finish your flip, you have to find another one. And that cash flow is king." So it started just where I'm at in my career, in my life. We did some flips, we made good money, but now it's like, okay, what are we going to do with this money? And I needed to have some passive income to actually be able to leave my job comfortably. We could flip houses, and I make way more flipping than in my W-2, but it's not consistent flips unless you have like a full pipeline. But that's really why our change of focus this year have been into the rentals, just so we could have some passive income and then focus our time doing whatever we want, if that's more flips, but really to have that base and replace my W-2 income. And then Austin, he is in medical sales. So he works from home, works remotely, and we both can run our business. And especially now that I'm doing this full time. So let's get into short-term rentals, or STRs, if you guys are wondering what that stands for. So quick side note, Scott, you see my photo here. I went through classes today and found we're in the class together. So
if you could actually be here right now, I'd probably beat red.
Oh, yeah. So that's when Scott and I officially met and started growing our friendship. And that was just over 2 years ago. And yeah, so there's education and live training and networking, all part of this group. So it's amazing to have gone to the training of short-term rentals in person and then go back and watch the recordings later. And so it's awesome to have these tools and those memories as well. So that's just a little screenshot of me and Scott sitting as students. And 2 years later, I'm excited that I finally took action and have some short-term rentals myself. So what are short-term rentals and why? So short-term rentals are obviously in the name. It's a shorter term for your rentals versus long-term tenants. Why do people do that? One, it's a much lower startup cost. The way that we do it through arbitrage. You can also buy an investment property and put 20% down and then furnishing. And if you're buying a $200,000 house, you're putting 40 grand down and then you're furnishing. And so your startup cost to just start one unit is so much higher versus the way that we're doing that, and that's through arbitrage. And what that means is what we're doing is we're leasing and then we're subleasing to our clients and then we market through apps like Airbnb and VRBO. So the correct terminology is short-term rentals because that's what it is. It's not an Airbnb. Airbnb is a platform that we market our property on. So it's a lower startup cost because you have your first month's rent, your security deposit, and then you have your furnishings, and it's a much lower startup cost, and it's easier for people to get into it. And it's that means it's a higher cash on cash return. So if I'm investing, let's say 15 grand into one property, and per Jay Massey, which is the instructor of our class here, and I'm just going to do some math. So he says if we do everything that he says, each bed will make $800 per month net. So 800 times 12, that's just under $10,000. So you would divide that by your $15,000 investment, and you're at a 64% cash on cash return. Sorry, I don't have that as numbers if you're a visual, and I kind of did that fast, but just to quick show you guys mentally, it's a higher cash on cash return because of that lower startup cost. So more people can get into it. And then the cash flow, like I mentioned before, that's why I really wanted to get into it, was just to have some passive income and cash flow. And then the financial freedom that creates. And Robert Kiyosaki says it best: financial freedom is when your income surpasses your expenses. So that is the goal, or your passive income surpasses your expenses. And so that is what Austin, my fiance, and I are really focusing on this year, so we can do whatever we want. And we love to travel, and really excited and motivated about life, and so happy to be part of this group. So a little bit about my units, I guess, to explain how I got into California. So I'm born and raised in Minnesota. I actually have partners who are in the Los Angeles area who I also have developed a relationship and friendship over the past couple of years as well. And so with me being in Minnesota, I didn't necessarily want to do short-term rentals here in Minnesota. There are some positives into doing it. We have Fortune 500 companies, corporation like headquarters here. We've got Target, 3M, Mayo. It's just the winters here. I personally don't like them, so I want to relate to my clients. So for me, doing them in Minnesota just wasn't really a motivation at the time. So my friend and business partner is doing them in LA, and he has about 20 units with him and his partners. And so he actually went to this class with me as well. I don't think he's in the screenshot with me. However, so he took action right away. So for 2 years, I got to see him grow and scale his business to 20 units, generating over $1 million in revenue just so quickly. And it was really killing me. I was like, man, I should have, would have, could have, but everything happens for a reason. So we did this, actually, we partnered before I quit my job. And so just getting things in the pipeline. We started having conversations a long time ago, but being serious, we started this winter, and then things got busy and we got into the spring, and this spring is when we started calling apartments. And our lease, we found one that gave us 4 right away. And so that those leases started in June. And so we've been operating for a month now, but we've had leases for a couple of months now, just getting ready and furnished and everything set up. So that's how I got to California. Being
so
all the way in
Cecilia,
Minnesota.
can I jump in?
Yeah.
So you're telling me and everybody on, so you've actually got short-term rentals in properties that you did not have to buy.
Correct.
That you did not have to put a bunch of capital into.
Correct.
Besides merchandising them and getting them all set up, you didn't have to actually buy the property. That's
correct.
Wonderful. That's amazing.
And they didn't check my credit. It's just not that I have bad credit, but it's just nice. We had a company set up, so they checked our corporate credit, which is separate from our personal credit. So this is all stuff that we learned in our classes. And so, yeah, to really run a short-term rental business, most of the stuff is online. However, the important key factors is that you have runners and cleaners. And so if you can get a team put together for runners and cleaners, and you have the online automated systems, that's how we're making this work right now. And so we're just really excited. I'm doing a lot of the online stuff, but a lot of it's automated with the different programs and automated messages, and it's been really great so far. And I'll share a little bit, the numbers later in the presentation. So I just wanted to give you guys a visual of our apartment
That is so
complex.
cool. That is neat. Yeah, that's quite a complex there. I'm gonna go ahead and mute everybody. Okay, Cecilia, I put you back on mute because we had somebody off mute there. Can you come off mute?
I don't know if I was on my iPad.
No, you're fine. You're good. You're good.
Good now?
So, one of the questions that might be going through somebody's mind right now is, because I talk to people on this on a regular basis about how to start short-term rentals without buying or acquiring the properties. And a lot of people kind of get the what do they call that? The deer or the eye, when you look at the deer in the headlight look, they don't quite understand that concept. How did you learn, and how did your partners learn how to have a conversation with a potential landlord that you wanted to be in their apartments or their property to set your short-term rental? How did you learn how to have that conversation?
Well, me specifically, and you as well, we were in the class, and Jay made us practice right there on the spot, because he told us after the break, he's going to choose someone random to come up on stage and prove to him that we practice. So in the class, Jay goes over every step A to Z on how to acquire your first property. And so he has a script, and essentially what it is you find your target market, or you choose your target market. Like, who do you want? Do you want business travelers? Do you want vacationers? Do you want medical? There's colleges with sports that have families coming in. So you kind of want to choose what kind of target market that you want, and then choose the location, find an attraction in the location, and start calling apartments there. And the conversation that you would have is telling them like, hey, my company and I were looking to sign a few different leases, and we serve clients because of the hospital that's nearby. You know what I'm talking about? And they're like, yeah. Well, we need to provide clean, safe, and affordable housing for our clients who don't want to stay in hotels. And so, it's interesting. If you guys have ever been in sales, you get a lot of no's. And so we definitely got a lot of no's, but you just keep going until you find that one. And so, this one, they do corporate leasing, and the requirement that they had was you have to have a company that has 2 years of existence. So otherwise, you could just sign it personally and put it in your personal name. But since we're operating a business, and we've had, since I've been part of this group, I started an entity 3 years ago. So I do have a company that I could do myself as well. But this isn't our new company's name. And so that's kind of to answer your question, Scott. It's in the class and how we learned. And then it's kind of to break it down, you find your target market and you explain what you do to provide for your target market.
I love that you also said that you're going to get no's. And I know a lot of people, and maybe you can relate to this 5 years ago or 10 years, a lot of people get very rejected when they hear no. And it's okay to hear no, isn't it? It's okay to get, because the no's help you get better at having that conversation. And so if you find 10, like you said, you found your client, like this is the kind of client that we would like to use our short-term rental, whether it's tourists, whether it's business owners, whether it's people that are traveling for big companies and things like that. And then you just start having those conversations. And sooner or later, you're going to find a company or a landlord or an owner of a property who says, yeah, absolutely. So thank you for sharing that.
Yes, absolutely. I'm, still not 100% comfortable with rejection. I'm human as well, but I have faced a lot of no's, and like Scott said, it just makes you better. So, yeah. And the fact that I had help from my friend who had already done 20, that definitely helped ease over some of that. Like, well, what if they say no? What if they ask a question that I don't know how to respond to? It was really helpful to have him, but then also the classes and the training that were provided. Just me personally, on a side note, like I personally think that the best investment that you can make is in yourself. And I will always pay someone that is doing what I want to do, so I can copy and learn from them and expedite my process. So it's the same with swimming. I could have swam by myself. I could have gone in the pool and wrote my own workouts, but I had a coach, right, that helped me get through all of this. And so it's the same thing in business. And personally, on a personal level and on a business level, I'm always investing back into myself so I can become better and learn faster and get to those goals faster. So when I say rely back on the classes, I mean, that is the reason why I'm here today, is because I really took those serious, and it's been the best investment and return on myself. So to get back into the short-term rentals, so this is the layout of the community. As you can see, there's 3 pools, there's parks, there's lots of grass. It's actually on like a hill, so there's no gates, but it's on a hill. So really the only people that are up there are the people that live there, which is really nice for our clients to have that privacy, because we'll get questions about that and the safety. Here are some photos. As you can see, there's that hill, like it kind of comes up, and that's the view of the city, Santa Clarita. And as you can see, the beautiful pool and a spa, and they have a gym. So I definitely flash these photos off for our listings because it's resort living. It's really nice. I personally got to stay there myself when we were setting up our units. I flew out to California. It was a write-off for me. Also a vacation. We had business meetings. I was setting up our units. I got to stay in some of our units, so I could really know what our clients are experiencing, because I got to experience myself. I laid out by that pool one day. I worked out at the gym. It was just really great. And so the location of our property is great. We use a website called walkscore.com, and it scales it on a 1 through 100. And I can't remember what the specific one this is, but I'm sure it's like a 95 to 100, because there's a grocery store, there's a Walmart, there's shopping, there's an LA Fitness, all right down at this hill, at the bottom of the hill. So it's really great. Our clients and guests have just shared their love on how excited they are, or how happy they are to be so close. So those are some photos. So we, like I said, have 4 units. We have 1 2-bedroom and 3 1-bedrooms. The rent is kind of expensive. It's $1,800 for the 1-bedrooms, and the 2-bedroom is like $2,700. And so it's about $8,000 in rent per month for all 4 of our units. And so this photo that you see here, that is our 2-bedroom unit. And I'll go to the next one. Here's some more photos of that 2-bedroom unit. We fully equip our kitchen with all the essentials. We have a Keurig, a knife set, a toaster, cutting board, plates, bowls, ice cube trays. I mean, you name it, we have everything. Rice cooker, blenders. And then, as you can see in the living room area, we have a desk. The work from home thing is really popular, as you all may know. And so we really put that, and we have a printer. I don't see it in the photo, but we do have printers as well. And for the TVs, they're all smart TVs with Netflix, Hulu, Disney accounts on it. So we don't do cable. We just do all of that on I think it's the Roku. I might be pronouncing that wrong.
No, you said it right. Roku's
okay.
awesome.
Roku. I think
you just said something. You're going through some small itemized things like a rice cooker, and I mean, who would have thought? I mean, that you should have a rice cooker there. I mean, I'm sure that. How did you come up with a checklist? You have to have some kind of a checklist so you can remember like how many sets of plates, how many coffee cups. I mean, it's very detailed. How did you come up with that checklist?
Well, luckily, I did not have to come up with it myself or reinvent the wheel. It was given to us in the class, so it was really great to leverage that to use for our business here. So, I mean, there's some things that you could come up with yourself as you personally travel, like what you would like yourself, but I actually didn't come up with it myself. I copied, which they don't like you to do that in school. They teach you in school, don't copy, or, they mark you up for that. But in business, if you can copy people that, are willing to teach you, it really helps and grows your business. So yeah, I didn't come up with that list. So, yeah, so back to the photos, we have the desk, and Jay, he recommends all this stuff, and he has so many units. I don't even know how many units he has now, but when we were taking the class 2 years ago, he had like 200 units or something. It was crazy. So he learned from trial and error, and I got to copy that, and we're very thankful. So as you can see, that's the bedroom there. We put king beds in our units. People love that as they're traveling. Even if it's a little tight in the space, we still try to get king beds in there. This is one of our 1 bedrooms. This one actually gets the most amount of traction. I'm not sure if it was just because we just listed this probably 3 weeks ago, or we think it might be because of the bright blue wall, like it just catches people's eyes. I'm not really sure, but this is our most popular one so far. And so this is just a 1 bedroom, and same thing. We've got the desk, and this one was a little bit smaller, so we couldn't have a formal table. So that's why we have the island chairs, and the sofas are a pull-out bed, so it's an additional space. And then we'll have a cot as well, so it can, or like a bed that folds, like it's a single little bed, so we can fit more people in there. So to go over some of the numbers for these units specifically, we did about 18,000 per unit to start up. In Jay's class, they hired a designer, and for that, he says that it's about $25 per square foot to get started on 1 unit. And so I'm not sure the square footages in this, but for example, if we had 1,000 square foot apartment, and the startup cost with a designer and someone to do it all for you is $25 per square foot for everything. That would be $25,000 to start up 1 unit. We did not go that route. We did not hire a professional designer. Our partner's girlfriend, she is a designer on the side or something, and so she actually designed these units for us and help set them up. There's pros and cons to that. So pro, we save money on the startup cost, a few $1,000s. However, it took a lot longer than planned. In Jay's class, the designers can get that done in 3 to 5 days. You're up and operating and starting to generate revenue. For this, like I said, our first lease we signed in the beginning of June, and I don't think we had our first unit listed until the first week of July or maybe the end of June. I'd say it was average about 2 to 3 weeks per unit to get it set up, which was really kind of frustrating, but at the same time, these are my first units that I've invested in. And since I'm partnering with people who also have other units, we couldn't put this business first. And with me not being here, being there, and I was only there that one time, like it was kind of out of my control. And so that was a little bit longer process. I'm not sure. I definitely want to change that process, whether it's all of us partners there for like 3 to 5 days, just like cranking them out, or we actually just hire a designer to just do it for us. I'm not sure what our next route is. We have a business meeting scheduled with our partners to determine the next steps for acquiring future ones. But yeah, it was just, it probably ended up being 20K per month. And I'll go over that a little bit with you guys. I think I have that on the next slide. Just because it took so long, we had to go into 2 months rent versus just 1 month rent. So that definitely got into our costs a little as well. And so how we funded this is we used line of credits, specifically business credit. And my fiance and I, we have a HELOC on our personal home that we bought, fixed up, and kind of a if you guys know that strategy, buy, rehab, renovate, or rent, refinance, repeat. Well, we didn't move out, we didn't refinance, we got a HELOC on it. Instead of selling the house or cash refinancing, we just got a HELOC because lines are better than loans, and we needed a personal place to live instead of just taking our money and leaving. So we also rented out the units, or 2 of the bedrooms as well. So it was a nice little house hack for us. And so that's how we funded these. And our plan, so that's how I was able to bring value, as well as the online management for partnering up with people. And so I also want to make a side note in what Jay, I don't think he teaches it in this class, but he talks about there's time, money, knowledge, and credit to every deal. And so whatever you are able to bring to the table is what will make a good partnership. If you know all 4 of them, that's great. You wouldn't necessarily need partners, but I was able to offer some time and leverage some of my credit to be a part of this deal. And that's why we were able to make it work. And then our partners, they're there in person. So they were able to set it up. And then if anything needs to be like runners, and our cleaners messed up on something or something broke, like people need to be there. And we have runners, but right now we're still kind of in that startup mode for that. So that's how I was able to do partner. And then our plan is to build business credit within this new company to then apply for business credit in a year from now, and then pay my lines of credit back, because I have 0% interest on that business credit right now as well. So another story for another day, but that is included in our classes that our community offers, is the business credit. And so we were able to leverage the bank's money and start generating some cash flow from it. So Jay says it's $800 per month per bed is the minimum. Now, I'm not sure if every location around the country will have that. I don't know if that was possible with this strategy here in Minnesota. I'm just not sure. I could be wrong, but I just wasn't willing to try that, especially full time.
Yes, Cecilia, I think that 800 is a good number because it's kind of an average.
Yeah.
And because some will get you less depending on the market you're in. And you've got to look at the cost of living, you got to look at the draw there, like for instance, if you come to, I'll just pick a city, if you went to rent a short-term rental in Topeka, Kansas, you might be able to get a really nice short-term rental for $80 to $100 a month, or excuse me, $80 to $100 a day. Where like in Santa Clarita, you guys might be charging, and I don't know what the number is, but you might be charging $300 a day. So I think the 800 is a really good average for a net per bed. And so I think that's a good number to go with. I think that's really accurate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I know we've got about 15 minutes left. You're doing a wonderful job. I know that a lot of people are, complimenting your business, just you in general. What I do want to throw another quick question here because somebody might be thinking this as well. You know, how I know you took the class like I did. We were there physically together, and we took that class, and we came back and we watched the recording, and I've watched it several times since then. Where or how did you finally just make that leap? Was it just looking around and seeing other people were doing it, and like you talk about your business partner's got 20 doors, and you're like, was it just that inspiration from the community that got you going to finally make that decision?
Yeah, absolutely. I think definitely the cushion of having a friend who has successfully done it as well partner with me, that was definitely helpful to make that leap. Yeah, so I think that's the specific answer to your question, is just having that, but then also relying on the courses. Now that I've partnered, Austin and I have partnered with another community member, we do feel that we've learned so much that we're excited to start our own units as well. I know I have 15 minutes left, but just a little short story. Austin actually got transferred to a different territory. So we're actually moving out of Minnesota to California, not this area, but Northern California in the Bay Area. So I haven't announced that on Facebook, so you participants got to hear that. So we are going to have this unit or this house. I'm designing it right now, and we're going to do short-term rentals. Just the decision in that, because I know earlier in the call I had said, well, Minnesota, I don't really want to do that. With this being a house, it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bed, 4-bed, 2-bath house. And we put a lot of money. We put about 60 to 70 grand of renovations in it. So it's really, it's a nicer quality of materials. So I didn't want to put long-term renters in that, because I want it to be kept well conditioned. And I know there'll be cleaners cleaning it weekly or however often the turnovers are. So I wanted to do that. So right now I'm actually designing, now that I don't have a job, I'm working on designing this house as well as managing our California. So then when we do move to the Bay Area, Austin and I, we will get our own units there. So, and then I also am partnered with two other people in our community in Utah, in Salt Lake City, because I love the city. I love it there. I want to invest in the city. And so I can go there as well. So we have one lease that started last week and another one starting next month. So we do have 3 more units in the pipeline with these 4. And then my goal is for Austin and I to have 3 more by the end of the year in the Bay Area, wherever we rent from. So we were calling personally for apartments, but then also having that same conversation. Hey, do you guys do corporate leasing? We are interested in signing not only personally, but even corporate leasing. So then corporate units. So then we can manage some units on site where we live. So that's kind of our plan for that as well. So my goal is to have 10 units by the end of 2021. And these were our first ones, definitely got me really comfortable. I have 2 more that we're doing in Utah. So that will be 6 partnered. And then we'll have this one, just Austin and I, and then we'll have 3 more by the end of the year, just Austin and I too. So I personally just love to leverage and build partners within, friendships. And these are friendships. They're not just random. Like I've met these people over the past couple of years, and it's been great. And when you start a partnership, it's marriage. You're getting into marriage. So it's not definitely for everybody, but over the past couple of years, it's been a great friendship. So we're like, hey, let's do this. And initially we wanted to invest out of state because I wanted to have multiples, but now that we're moving to a more touristy area, I'm really excited to add those on. So sorry to sidetrack there.
I think it's really cool that you're sharing your goals because, you know, as an investor, you know, we do have some pretty lofty goals, and it's really neat to share that with folks because, you know, a lot of people, when they see an investor like yourself, you know, fairly young, already accomplished, and how you're moving your bar up. You're setting the goals even higher than, you know, what most people can even imagine just getting started. So I'm glad you did share that. I mean, obviously it was kind of like a mic drop to hear you're moving to California. I hadn't heard that yet. I'm super excited for you. And I'm sure you guys will do wonderful out there. And but yeah, can you talk a little bit about your cash flow? I think we've had some of our community members answering questions for people asking them on the chat room. So thank you everybody for doing that.
Yes.
But
so
if you could talk a little bit where your cash flow is on this thing.
Yeah. So this is, again, I'm being completely open with you guys and sharing our numbers. This is a screenshot off of our Airbnb account this morning. So as you can see right now, we have booked earnings for 2021 in revenue is just under $39,000. Again, we signed our lease in June, and every other week we were signing the second, third, and fourth. But we weren't fully all 4 units up and operating up until 3 or 4 weeks ago. So really excited to have that. As you can see, July, like we only had half because we really only had half of our units. And for the month of August, that is, I have it on the next slide. We are at booked earnings, just 18 grand just for the month of August. So so far we are 7,800 paid out, and we're expected another 10 grand. So just kind of gives you guys a visual. And then the lighter blue shade is like what we have in the future booked, but not paid out yet. And personally, so as partners, we all delegate tasks. My task is not the numbers. I do not do any of the expenses or their bookkeeping or whatever. So I apologize. I do not have our exact numbers for cash flow right now. I do know that since it took a little bit longer than expected, as a partnership, we have agreed to kind of put our first and second month's cash flow back into the business. So I don't know what our cash flow is right now, just because I'm not in control, and I personally asked to not be in control because that's not my part of the business. I don't.
No, we appreciate the transparency and oh my gosh, I mean, you just got online 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's insane.
And look at the whole month of August. I mean, you're going to cash flow, and I say cash flow. You're going to. That's not. We got to be careful with that terminology. That is your gross projected income, correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct. And we have had a couple offline bookings that aren't through Airbnb as well. We were just paid through Venmo. So that's another couple grand there as well. Because we have clients who love their stay and they ask to extend. And we're like, hey, well, let's not do this through Airbnb because Airbnb takes a cut. Let's just do this on the side. So that is also something to keep in mind as well. So I am just in the beginning stages, and you guys got to see a glimpse of it. And I'm super excited to share that with you. Again, I apologize for not having exact numbers, but check back in a couple months.
That is awesome.
With me, and I can share with you guys.
I can't wait to this time next year to see the numbers. My jaw is wide open right now. I'm just like, oh my gosh, after 3 or 4 weeks, look at August. You've already got September, around 6 or 7. This is
Yeah.
awesome.
And we only open our calendar 3 months in advance. So anybody trying to book and just like, they can't even see it on the calendar. So we do that just so we can get things filled. And
you know, something I failed to mention earlier, and I super apologize. We're at 11:51 Eastern, 10:51 Central right now. If you guys are on today and you want to learn more about what Cecilia's been talking about, community, about education, about collaboration, about knowledge, about relationships. I mean, you've thrown out so many golden nuggets today. Thank you, thank you. But if you guys on today, if you're a guest, or even if you're new to the community, or say you've been involved in the community and you want to learn more about what Cecilia's talked about today, we actually have right after this, it's on a separate link. Get back to who invited you. It starts in about 10 minutes. And it's a live business introduction meeting where you can learn more. It's more expansion on some of these bullet points and the golden nuggets that Cecilia's been throwing out. And so get back with who invited you. They can get you that link. I meant to mention that earlier, but you were on such a roll. I didn't want to, I tried to pause to interrupt you too much because you had so much great information you were sharing. Could you, one thing I would love to hear, and I think a lot of people on today would, because, you know, I know you really well. And I've told you many times, you inspire me all the time. And I've even joked with you on the phone yesterday. I said, man, I said, if you ever need someone to adopt you as a daughter, I am first in line. Okay. All right. So I've already got 5 children. I don't mind adding a 6. All right. So,
that is too sweet.
Can you, well, I mean that from my heart. So is there a couple things you could throw out that you learned or you experienced that you would tell people, hey, these were the couple bumps that I've run across in the short-term rental business, and share that with people that you learned from that, like, hey, I'm going to be able to execute better moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of like I mentioned earlier, our biggest bump was trying to do it ourselves and with the help of our partner's girlfriend. I definitely will take the time to be wherever that unit is to get that built out in a timely manner. When these were getting built out, I still had my full-time job. I actually did fly out to LA 1 week. I didn't even tell my company. I flew out like Friday morning and flew back. I caught a red eye Sunday night, showed up to work. Like my flight landed at 6:30 and I showed up to work at 7:30. It was like, I did what I could to be there. It was only a couple days, but that is one thing that I would change, is just physically being there and helping any way that I could to get that thing done as fast as possible. Otherwise, I would just hire a designer and have a little bit higher startup cost just to get it done and professionally done, and maybe learn from their business model, and maybe for future ones after that to do that. Yeah, so I just trying to do it on our own had given us some bumps in the road, and that reflects into business in general. I've noticed things that I've tried to do by myself, whether it's bookkeeping or trying to, learn something. Because I read Rich Dad Poor Dad when I was a freshman or sophomore in college. And I tried to do the real estate investing thing on my own for a couple of years. I even got my real estate license. And it didn't get me as far as I'd like. It got my knowledge far, but I didn't have the action or the credibility yet. So yeah, just really trying to do stuff on my own in the short-term rental business, and then in business in general have caused bumps that, like I said before, I'm willing and able to invest into whatever's going to make it work faster. So
well, that's awesome. That's incredible. Let's see. I think somebody just threw another question up here.
Yes, and I've been trying to read your guys' comments. Thank you guys so much for the kind words. I'm happy that you guys are here to share this moment with me, because this is my first kind of event since I've left my job. So I think this is recorded, so it'll be nice to keep this in the memories as well. So I don't see another question really. Are these Airbnb units? They are short-term rentals, and Airbnb is one of the platforms that we use to market the properties. So I know we're coming to an end here.
You bet.
Guys.
Let's real quick here, and we'll wrap it up. Brittany's asking if there's any mentors or class participants that have short-term rentals in Texas or specifically San Antonio. Brittany, get back to who invited you because we have communities all over the country. And I'm talking Hawaii, Alaska, Texas, the big state of Texas. We've got a great community down in Austin and also I think San Antonio. So get back who invited you and they can definitely plug you in. Okay. So guys, thank you, Cecilia. You did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming out and keep me
Thanks for
posted.
having me.
You're so welcome. And guys, have a great Saturday. We'd love to see you back out next Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. And we'll be featuring a new investor. Thank you guys.
Bye guys. Thanks.
Have a great weekend.